Salute to you guys, all the veterans across the board in the military and civilian theater. It's your man Ronin back after a well-needed work vacation. Um, I wish I could tell you everything about the event, but I'm telling you right now, this is one of the best events I've had in my life. And I'm not even joking with that. But with that being said, refreshed, recharged, motivated to get back into work. And as always, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for future videos. But today's conversation is going to be dealing with the fog of lore. So I'm going to use some definitions and then get to the explanation as to why this is being created. The fog of war is a phrase, the uncertainty of situational awareness experienced by participants in military operations. Translation: confusion caused by the chaos of war and battle. Now we're going to talk about lore. It's a noun, a body of traditions and knowledge on a subject or held by a particular group, typically passed from person to person by word of mouth. So, what is the necessity of these two definitions in this conversation? Being that the current and popular fog of lore being shame, blame, and explain, especially in this space and abroad, there's a lot of brothers out here who either disconnected from the purpose, devoid of a purpose, or somewhere in between. And these conversations tend to plague a lot of us brothers in real time, myself included. We start asking questions as to why I'm here. And not openly, because in the society, no one cares nor is tend to help. I mean, willing to help you though, but it's like few. But there's a need for a lot of us brothers to make good on our time, the gifts we've been given, the ways to change things around us and beyond us, and making our time count. You have all these things about new school versus old school. A lot of guys complain about generational benefits and deficits. But when you look into it, it's the evolution of masculinity, the necessity of rites of passage, dealing with things as far as the constant threats of extinction, homelessness, fatherlessness, joblessness, things dealing with our internal and external. All that encompassing deals with the confusion, the fog, and the disoriented state of man that we see in real time. Question you got to ask yourself is, how do you handle the blessings manifesting for others in real time while yours is still on layaway? When you really start seeing people finding their momentum and finding their way, we arrogantly ignore the fact that a lot of people may have struggled, lost sleep, lost countless hours of sleep. The toll, the time, the trouble, and the threats they faced to getting to the point where they can start getting the wind underneath their wings. We got to start remembering, we got to respect their grind. And too many of us are too busy pocket watching. Certain people are meat watching. And forget the necessity of being your genuine self. Understanding the need for quality over quantity. So how do we find our way out of our own personal fog of lore? Well, let's get into it. Number one, reestablish interpersonal intelligence and friendly force tracking systems, your vetting processes. Now, with this, it may sound wordy, but I'm going to break it down as best I can. When you're dealing with the fog of lore, if anything, everything doesn't seem solid. You're in a haze. You're stressed out because of the confusion. You don't know north from south, east from west, and you're trying to figure out where do I go. And a lot of guys of us have to admit we tend to get paralyzed with fear, doubt, anger, and all these things. And with everything that's going on today, if we just sit there and refuse to take care of the business at hand, it will destroy us. Unfortunately, we've lost quite a few brothers because they gave up on what they have in front of them. When we talk about reestablish interpersonal intelligence, that means looking to within yourself. Don't give a damn about what everyone's got going on. You can learn some things, but don't take the focus off what you have. We are the authors of our life. We're perfectly flawed. We are unique in our own brand. When it comes to it, you got to start re-educating yourself about yourself. Good, bad, and indifferent. And making best with the hand you've been dealt. When it comes to the friendly force tracking systems, we got to start vetting not just ourselves, but the people we have around us. The people we tend to have around us and the conversations we tend to have, those are strong indicators of whether how well we grow or seeing you have company that is ensuring that you remain rotten, decrepit, and often the authors of your destruction. This goes well beyond vetting out a chick to lay with or even spend your time with, both foreign and domestic. Because if you don't take care of the first part, the second part will definitely leave you out there stranded, running into mines, running into trouble, which most guys tend to do, unwilling to address the interpersonal angst instead of taking accountability of their time themselves, executing the 4 P's: protection, problem solving, procreation, and provision for themselves before they can share that with others responsibly. So now, go to number 2. Trade off precision and certainty for speed and agility. Now, amidst this fog, and I'm using SBE for example, online, everything seems perfect. But when you take account into what it looks like, you're nothing more than a prisoner of perspective, a willing one, sitting in a glass prison, living vicariously through the lies and lifestyles of others. Everything seems like it's going well for them when really it isn't. Now, when it comes to speed and agility in the military, there's a saying that says smooth is fast as smooth. It means you need to reorient yourself and move with a sense of purpose. Use your agility to adapt and maneuver, which requires you use your other senses, your listening, your taste, everything to make sure you find your way out of that fog. Listening for friendly voices, sounds that alert you to potential dangers, especially the bullshit you hear online. Now, when you're moving with speed and agility, it's hard for the enemy to seriously track you when you start moving correctly, knowing when to cease your movements. Learn how to adapt to your environment, which means you get outside, unplug, and get it moving. When it comes to your agility, you want to tap into your abilities. Learning how you move and your skills will often trip up the enemy, especially when you remain unpredictable. but focused on the goal, which is getting you out this fog of lore. Number 3, understand the necessity of properly carrying and passing the torch. Now, this one is key because a lot of guys believe that rugged individualism is the way, and it isn't. There's a lot of internet tender dicks who want to bounce around and promote the ideas of foreskin over foresight when it should be the opposite. You got to walk it like you talk it. Carry yourself with distinction. Because when it comes to masculinity, it is a team sport. And that's why rites of passage are necessary to groom the juniors into becoming your peers into elders, elders into legends. Once we reestablish those things, this is where manhood becomes celebrated. And we're not waiting for the outside world to celebrate it for us. It's got to be among us. We have to take pride in being the pillars of influence, masculine men of momentum and motivation. That's how we properly carry the torch. How we walk, how we talk, conflict resolution skills, overall knowledge, and learn how to be socially adept, flexible in the proper times. As Bruce Lee always said, be like water, fluid, move in that same fashion. Now, when is your time? Even before your time, you're grooming your peers. As the saying is, great leaders create great leaders. When you're in your when you're in your fire team, or when you're in a circle of friends or brothers, what kind of advice or wisdom are you passing on to them on a regular basis, either through recreation times or preparing for adverse situations? Again, quality over quantity. If you have one great friend or even several great friends, you're greatly blessed. Because there's a lot of individuals who let you know that snakes know how to hiss when they give you a hug. They'll call you bro. They'll call you bae. All manners of things, because even cold-blooded animals seek the warmth of your light. But when it comes to passing your torch, it leads to one question among many. What will be said about you when you're gone? Will you be honored as a powerful man of inspiration, or casually dismissed as a mere afterthought or worse? In closing, we got to live for today while preparing the road for the future, not just for ourselves, but for those who we aspire to motivate and carry on that legacy. There are many men who are being honored, both solid men and shitbirds. However, as the authors of our respective lives, there's nothing wrong with a timely rewrite and edit here, or redoing the foreword in who we are as far as men. What I've learned this weekend is to never dampen my light for the sake of people who selfishly cast shade on it, be it so-called friends, family, what have you. Just because you're blood related doesn't mean that they can relate to you. So I want you guys to take this into serious consideration, because as men, once we make it cool to be forward thinking, progressive, solid, upstanding men, that changes everything. We got to get back to having pride and being unashamed and unapologetic of who we are, and who we were meant to be. So you guys let me know in the comment section, see what you think. If I missed anything, be sure to add that as well, and we can sit there and have the conversation in a real time live. Because now this is the time we need to grow. This is the time where men need to be men again. And we take it one step at a time. As always, never allow your comfort zone to become your coffin. Semper Fi. Peace.